so the next thing I'm gonna go over with you guys is the post-operation shutdown and what you want to do at the end of every shift. So come up on here. Well, actually, we'll start down here. First thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to go through and clean everything. So while the machine's still running, you turn off your screed heaters. That way the generator and the screed heaters have time to cool down. While the machine's at an idle, you're gonna go around and clean everything. So the key areas are gonna be right along here. You can see someone was lacking on this side and didn't clean this side. So you wanna get all the asphalt off. You want the whole thing to look like back here. You wanna clean this area up in here. Break this off. In here on your augers, you want to make sure there's not an excessive amount of buildup in here. You could turn this around so that you can get all sides of it. These bolts right here, you always want to make sure you're cleaning them off. That way if there's ever loose or need to be tightened or pull out, you could replace them. The other areas you want to get. This slide. You want to slide that out all the way, get that all cleaned off. That way when you suck it back in, and it sits in there, it's not packing in there and getting tight and freezing and locking up. You want to check down in here. Make sure there's not an excessive amount of asphalt built up around the tracks and wheels. All right, while you're up in here, depending on the operation you're doing, sometimes you get asphalt up on here. Make sure that it comes out of there. Make sure you do not leave asphalt built up. Other area, obviously inside your hopper you're going to want to take care of. Make sure all that's cleaned out along within the flight chains. Once again, be very mindful of who's in there. If someone's in there, you cannot run those augers. Right in here, pay attention to these areas. Down in here, all this here, you see someone's slacking. You gotta get all that clean. If you do it while it's hot, it's easy. You wait until it's cooled down, it's a nightmare. Same thing on this side as on the other side. Check for asphalt everywhere. All in here. Exact same thing as on the other side. If you're in a location where it's safe to do so, when you're done scraping everything down, you can spray it all down with Paver. And that will make the next day easier. Alright. Next thing you're going to want to do. You're going to want to come up here. This is where you could now, everything's scraped off, everything's cleaned up. You're not going to need to suck anything in. Probably just watch your foot. You're going to want to lift your screed up. Then you're going to want to go down bottom. I'll show you when I get down there because I already put them out. But you're going to want to make sure that you put the screed locks in. All right. Then you're going to want to put the screed back in flow. Once you have it in flow, you can now safely shut your machine down. All right, now that that's down, while you're up here, you're going to want to move your seat out of the way. You're going to want to come over here. Right in here is your air filter. These things will get caught a bunch of times on you, so you'll have to keep releasing them. Pull that out. Pull this out. You make sure it's clean. If it's not, tap it out. Right here, you'll see it's a little dirty, but this one ain't bad. They've been doing all right with checking this one. You'll notice, if you try putting it in the wrong way, it ain't gonna fit. Goes back in there. Make sure that's down all the way. That's locked in. Make sure that your seat's all the way in and locked in. All right? Make sure your covers, your vandalism covers, they click on here. Make sure when you're done, put them back on. Once they're on, make sure you lock them. Make sure they're locked, that way the wind can't take them off. All right, same with the bottom ones. All right, one thing I forgot to say while I was up there, before you shut your machine off, if you know your paver's leaving the next day or it might get picked up by a lowboy, help them out and help yourself out from headaches later. Always make sure your toe points are all the way down. That will make getting on the lowboys easier. All right, the next thing you're going to want to do is drain your water fuel separator. That's all fuel coming out, you're good. It will be clear if it's water. All right, that's everything. Well, sorry, I lied. The next thing you're gonna wanna do is grease. So I don't mind if you wanna do it at the beginning or the end of the day, that's up to you. But all the grease points you wanna catch, all right? So you want to go around the machine and check for any spot you see a grease line. All right, check down in here. You see them? They're going to be a little difficult to see at times. You always want to clean them off before you start greasing them. All right, check in here. The back of your screen. And the crank up there. It's very important that you grease daily. Now you don't want to excessively grease it, because if you excessively grease it, you're just going to blow out the fittings. Right in here. All right. Now you're safely done with your post trip.